When I first got into this hobby, social media was a huge inspiration for me. I was always keen to find inspiration on social media to motivate me to keep going with this hobby and to kind of keep me excited. But as content creation became more and more of a job for me, I stopped consuming a lot of plant content. I'm so busy looking after my own plants, filming with my plants, editing my content, that by the time I'm done with my workday, I'm a little bit oversaturated. But that also means that sometimes it can get a little bit boring. You know, I'm kind of just confirming my own bias, growing the same plants that I've been growing for a really long time and so on. So today I thought, let's change that up a little bit. I'm gonna go on TikTok out of all places, and I want to see some of the nicest plants the internet has to offer. And you guys know me, I usually have opinions about things, so I'm gonna maybe not rate them, maybe not rank them either, but I'm gonna give you my 2 cents. So let's have a look at the best plants the internet has to offer. Hello everybody and welcome back to our YouTube channel. As the intro said, I want to look at some really nice plants to kind of get motivated or inspired to maybe try some different plants or try a little bit harder with my own plants. I don't know, I just want to see what does plant content look like these days, because as I mentioned, I don't consume that much plant content anymore. Specifically, I hardly ever even log into TikTok. I don't really consume any content on TikTok. I just go and upload my video and then I leave the app. Sorry. It's too fast-paced for me, honestly. I try and put all of my efforts into YouTube. So thank you if you're here. So that's why I thought TikTok might be a great way to find plants, because the algorithm on here should be pretty untouched or almost untouched, right? So I thought, you know what, TikTok is probably going to be the most neutral from an algorithm perspective, because I haven't consumed that much content on here in the first place, and hopefully it is going to be the least biased, so it's not necessarily going to show me the content that I already like, right? Because it doesn't know what I like. Anyway, that's the idea. See how we go. I just thought, why don't we go ahead and we search for plant talk, which is apparently the popular hashtag on TikTok, inspired by book talk, I think, and we just have a look at the top videos that come up over here and see if I like any of them or how I feel about them. Let's have a look. Oh, and because this is the internet and it's 2025, I need to give you a disclaimer. They're just my opinions based on my aesthetic preferences. You're allowed your opinion, you're allowed different aesthetic preferences. That's okay. We can all agree that we like plants. Thank you.
Time whispering words of affirmation to your leafy friends.
I have about 475 plants. So
that's a lot of plants.
when I tell you plants that you absolutely should buy, I feel like you should trust me. In this household, Syngoniums are superior. These plants are so easy and they grow so fast. This is the perfect plant for a lazy plant parent. These plants come in so many different colors and so many different shapes. There comes a point in time when you don't even know it's a Syngonium. You just look at it and it look like some crazy plant. Like this one. Like, come on. Love Syngoniums with every piece of my heart. I would be remiss if I did not bring up the pothos. Pothos, however you want to pronounce it. You can go days without looking at this plant and it will still show up for you. It will still have your back through thick and thin. And these come in different colors too. They come in different shades and colors.
I think today I'm more looking for quality over quantity. So you're not going to catch my interest by just saying how many plants you've got. I'm really after big, nice statement pieces. Things that get me excited, not just filling up my wish list for the sake of it. But I do know Paige. With her, I watch her content not for her plants or her plant advice. I definitely watch her content for her personality. So yeah, she's really funny. I like her. And I met her in Miami as well. But yeah, I am definitely more team quality over quantity these days. So I want to see big plants. Let's see. I'm just literally scrolling. This was the first thing that came up. love this big monstera over there. That is really, really pretty. I really like this. And look, in that video, there wasn't all too many plants, right? It was really just a nice curation of good looking plants, not just volume. I prefer that sort of. I mean, I do have both. I think I have a lot of plants, but a lot of them are also quite big.
Where do I put it? Like here? That's cute, right? This is fun. I like this. Can't just have one plant. I have to get it a friend.
I like this. That's nice. Oh my god, it's from 2023. I like this video. That's funny. And that's kind of my style as well. I really like his sense of aesthetic.
3 things every beginner plant parent should know. Number 1. Plant care is a time commitment. Even if you only have a couple of plants, the time it takes to water those every week can really add up. Number 2. You're gonna get pests, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. My best advice is to treat your plants as soon as you notice them to avoid bigger headaches later on. And number 3. No matter what you do, some plants are just gonna die. Sometimes it's your fault.
10 out of 10. Subscribe to all of that advice.
Are you stressed? Buy a plant. Are you anxious? Buy another plant. Are you bored? Buy even more plants. Are you sad? Then make a jungle.
Again, really like simple aesthetic, really makes the plants shine. That's kind of my style.
Here are my 5 best tips to turn your house into a home. 1. Add some plants. 2. Bring in more greenery. 3. Decorate with more botanical elements. 4. Sprinkle in a bit of foliage. And 5. Incorporate some vegetation.
I agree with all of these as well.
You've decided to have plants in your house. So now you have to learn how to cope with loss. Because plants give up on living as soon as they enter your address. You place the plant in the sun, it dies. You place it in the shade, it dies. You water it, it dies. You don't water it, it dies. Then you set up a little fertilizer lab in your house in an attempt to save the poor plants. Phosphorus, nitrate, perlite, eggshells, manure, worm castings. It's pointless. Your brand new fiddle leaf fig will cease to live anyway. It seems that for the plants,
It's a tree. It's very hard to grow trees inside.
Watch this. And I bet you it'll grow back. And it came back 10 times better. So this is your friendly reminder that if you need to start over, you can.
I agree. I do think cutting plants is such an underestimated tip or hack. I am never afraid of cutting my plants, and that's how I ended up being surrounded by so many. If you don't propagate, you're not doing the fun part of the hobby. So I very much agree with this advice. Now we're talking. Look at that. Look at this teeny tiny pot that it's in, the big leaves, the increase in leaf size. That is the content that I was looking for today. This is the sort of video that makes me want to grow a pothos myself. The other videos so far were very more on the entertainment front, I would say. I wasn't super grabbed by any of them, but that's my style. I like this. I want to check out her account. Yes, look at that. That's nice. And she even managed to keep the fiddle leaf fig alive. I like the different bark here as well. Wow. So we've got rooting for your growth. Sorry, there was no name on here, but I really like her sense of aesthetics. It's not about just cramming as many plants as possible on every single shelf or surface. It's really about growing them into nice artworks and then displaying them in your house and making your house feel really nice. But hopefully me liking that sort of videos is, you know, priming my algorithm to get better. Oh my god, hello my baby. He should use the tip we saw earlier about chopping your plant. I really have the desire to chop off this leggy top bit and replant it. But that is pretty impressive to grow them that large, right? I mean, I've never even attempted, but I don't think they're the easiest growers. They were really popular at a time, but now I hardly see them around. So that makes me think that they're not as easy to grow as expected. And loved the use of Foliage Focus there. The whole video, all I can think about is just how grateful I am to have a garden. So I can take my plants outside and just be messy out here. Especially, and then indoors at least I have wooden floors that I can sweep and wipe. Everything on carpet is like next level commitment. So good on you, but where there's a will, there's a way. I like this.
So I have over 100 houseplants in my tiny 2-bedroom apartment. So when I tell
It's not even that many, just 100.
you which ones to get and not to get, take my advice. Starting strong on what...
That is so weird to me. There's not a second person in, 15 videos that is basing their expertise in recommending plants on the volume of plants that they have, not the quality of plants that they have. Interesting concept.
plants you should get, okay? Regal Shield alocasia.
Agree though.
Incredibly easy alocasia, which alocasias aren't easy, grows really quick and she's big and pretty. Don't get a ZZ plant. These have the reputation of being a super beginner-friendly plant. They can kind of be picky on their soil type and water levels, so get a snake plant instead. Get a pothos. They are extremely easy, you can't kill them, they grow really fast, and everybody knows and loves a pothos. Get a pothos. Don't get a fig, okay?
I agree with that.
They drop leaves because you look at them wrong. Don't get a fig. Do get a begonia. This one was my roommate's before we moved in together, so I'm currently treating her, and she's coming back to life. No care, and she came back.
To me it's so weird, like he shows a beautiful fiddle leaf fig and says don't get it, and then he shows the begonia with one sad leaf hanging there saying get it. If I would watch this video in silent, I would think the other way around. I also just realized I probably have to, oh, a ladybug! I probably have to put so much copyright music on here. You guys know how I feel about making things climb up your wall. I mean, it is impressive that it climbs so much, but I would much prefer a lusher setup. Like I think the goal over here should be to have the whole column filled with plants, not have one really long plant on that huge column. Look, my darling, a ladybug. Why don't you go in here and eat some pests? Good boy, girl, lady. Sorry, I had to skip a whole lot of videos just then. I feel like I haven't had much positive things to say, so and I don't want to shit can other creators.
Lesson. Direct light, indirect light, low light. Any questions?
Yes, I do actually have questions. Are we aware that the sun is moving? Now we're talking. Oh, that looks so good. Yeah, I think the first plant is gone. Like, it rehydrated a little bit, but I think that was too far gone, no? I love the cat. This video almost had 1 million likes. Wow, people really love dehydrated plants. I want big plants.
Last week, I killed my entire plant collection. Literally everything is dead. All the plants I've collected for years and years and years. Those don't look so good. A few of them made it. You're probably wondering how I killed over 100 plants in a 24-hour period. I moved from Minnesota to Houston, Texas during a polar vortex. Unfortunately, I could not fit all of my plants in a moving van, so we had to get a truck. When the temperature is -8 degrees on an 18-hour drive, finally, when we hit Oklahoma City, it was 0. That doesn't bode well for plants. They don't like that. I did manage to save a bucket of cuttings of all the plants that I was willing to sell but wanted a piece of. I didn't think, let me take cuttings of my favorite plants. That was a big mistake. These, along with my fish, were up in the front cab with us, but everything that was in the back didn't matter how many heat packs.
Ah, yeah. That's sad. But plants can grow back. That's good. Okay. Let's find related searches. Plant Talk has not been cutting it. That is not what I was after. So far, very much quantity over quality. A lot of dehydrated plants. I suppose it makes for like shocking content to rehydrate a dehydrated plant like that. Obviously, only the one account that grows plants on moss poles was inspiring to me. Let's go with viral plants in TikTok. Plants must-haves, house plants, indoor plants, let's go with viral plants. I like the Strelitzia. I've never been a big fan of having like a pothos just trail along the ceiling and the wall and the floor. I just find it looks messy a little bit. I think it would look much nicer without the vines at the top. But the Strelitzia is really nice, and these are not easy to grow indoors because they like quite a lot of light. Really like this. I mean, it's probably not the most functional piece, but when you don't use it, it becomes decor, and I'm always excited about things that combine functionality and aesthetics, right? I wouldn't really put a watering can on my shelf, but that just looked like a nice vase. Brad Canning, we've had him before as well. Okay, this is from 2021, long time ago. It's weird, TikTok is recommending a lot of old videos to me.
Here's how you can create
caladiums. That reminds me that this year I actually wanted to grow a few caladiums, but yeah, maybe I need to make a trip down to AJ. See, that's inspiring. I want to grow caladiums, and here they give me caladiums. Okay, this is the kind of content that I wanted. Not saying that this is something I would ever do, but I love how people take a plant and then turn it into an artwork, right? Like, that was just an artwork and it looked beautiful, and it wasn't even lush or well grown, to be honest, but there was like aesthetics was at the forefront over here. And this is the sort of content that I want to see, because it will inspire me to not just copy exactly that, but yeah, why wouldn't I use bonsai wire maybe a little bit more to shape a few plants, maybe some slow growing plants. I need to think about that, but it makes me think, you know what I mean? I like this. This is what I want. Thanks, Noemi. Maybe we should look at Noemi. If we find somebody who's aesthetic I agree with, yes, let's go. Oh, that looks so good. I really like that aesthetic. Now, realistically, I would have way more plants if I would have that amazing space. But I think it's another good example where more isn't more, right? You don't need 500 plants in that space to consider it an indoor jungle. Just a few select plants, well grown, not too overwhelming, and it actually creates a nicer aesthetic indoors. Since I have a garden and a lot of the plants have an easier time even growing out here, I've definitely noticed that I prefer the indoors less cramped. More isn't always more. Sometimes a plant needs a little bit of space to really show all of its beauty, rather than just being cramped amongst 700 others. So I very much appreciate that. I think we need to follow Noemi. Even just the cat, I mean.
It's been a long.
Yeah, look at that. Like, that is beautiful. One huge strelitzia over there just really complements the space super, super well. So that is definitely that sort of sense of aesthetic that I really, really agree with. I like this a lot. Definitely inspires me to maybe even reduce the plants that I've got indoors.
You know what? Lots of people talk about my begonia maculata, and it certainly does bring all the boys.
Show me your begonia, Johnny. Come on.
That sounds wrong. I've got images. Leave me. Leave my mind. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to present you my begonia maculata.
Yes, show it. Oh, look at that's a begonia.
These begonia.
You know where the other guy earlier said begonia is one I recommend. That's what I want to see. You know, if you tell me like I recommend growing this plant, show me why you recommend growing this plant. Because obviously, if you have a big one like that, then I take your recommendation more seriously, rather than just making a recommendation and justifying it based on the number of plants that you bought. Anyway, I said I'm not going to throw any more shade. So, actually, let's talk about Johnny a little bit, because I'm obviously quite vocal on things, and you know, look, at the end of the day, everybody can do this plant hobby the way that they want to do it. And obviously everybody has a different sense of aesthetics. Some people look at my aesthetic and think it's boring, or it's really plain, or like it doesn't have enough character and it's too manicured and not wild enough, right? Like that's a comment I get a lot, where people are like, why don't you let your plants grow a little wilder so it would look better? But I don't think it would look better. I actually think it would look worse. But that's the beauty, right? We all have different senses of aesthetics. you know, think about fashion and the stuff that we wear. There's things that other people wear that I would never want to wear myself, but I'm not forcing them to only wear what I wear, right? So obviously I'm gonna decorate my house to make me feel comfortable in my house and create a homey feel based on my perception. If somebody else has a different perception and a different experience of what homey is, then go for gold. Home decor is all about being creative, and I love how we can use plants in so many different ways to create so many different aesthetics. That's, you know, no matter what your sense of aesthetic is, you'll always have a preference. Johnny and I have very, very different senses of aesthetics, even when it just comes to the way that we dress, the way that we grow our plants, the amount of plants that we've got. I mean, he really lives in a jungle, right? Mine is like highly, highly curated and manicured compared to Johnny. So I would probably go a little bit crazy if I were at his house, because I would feel claustrophobic, like I would feel cramped in. But that doesn't mean that I can't appreciate all of the work that goes in. If somebody grows a nice looking plant, I can appreciate the effort, I can appreciate the skill, right? And quite clearly Johnny knows what he's doing, and he's doing it really well. I just wouldn't do it in that way, if you know what I mean. I can have a lot of respect for people. It doesn't mean that I would need to replicate it. So I really love Johnny's content, and I really love Johnny as a person. I can't wait to see him again in America. And yeah, I watch his content for his personality, for his character, because he's funny, not because I actually agree with his sense of aesthetic, if that makes sense. But that's not a bad thing, right? If anything, that's more of a compliment than anything else. Wow.
3, 4.
No way! Let's have a look. So that was reposted from a creator called Candy Boo. Also on YouTube, that's good, you know. Those were the biggest deals I've ever seen in my life.
Ahorita no me molestan porque estoy en modo de relajación, de encontrar mi paz interior. Ahorita no me...
That's impressive. I love that. That's what I want to see.
Oigan, estoy por aquí en la casa de un amigo y me encontré con estas bellezas que tiene. Haciendo el favor, ¿cómo es que tiene esto aquí en la sala? Y mira cómo se le está dando de lindo. Eso no tiene perdón. Y a ver esto. Este cigonio, qué cosa más espectacular, ya se le pegó súper ahí. Y esta palma de viajero variegada, yo nunca la había visto, la verdad.
Variegated Traveler's Palm, so pretty. I really like the banana as well.
Here are 5 unique plants to make a statement in your home in partnership with Google. My favorite plant is the fishbone cactus. It produces the most beautiful flowers that are actually nocturnal and bloom at night. And its long stems look like fish bones, hence its name. This plant likes bright and direct light and is pretty easy to take care of. The next plant I love is the Dracaena marginata. It's also called the dragon tree, and I love how architectural this plant is. It's super easy to take care of.
That's the word, architectural. That was like the lady that did the bonsai wired Schefflera. I think it was a Schefflera, wasn't it? Architectural. And he's using amazing pots and really beautiful top dressing of the pot as well.
Of and can even work in homes with low light. This next plant is the Philodendron Congo. I'm actually thinking of gifting this plant to my sister. I found this beautiful statement planter on Google's Holiday 100, which is a list of gift ideas of products that defined our year. This West Elm planter is a modern approach to a traditional plant stand and will look great with any of these plants. Another unique plant for your home is this Dioscorea elephantypus plant, which is also known as elephant's foot due to its callus base. It has long vines and produces small little flowers. This one's a bit more temperamental and requires very little water. The last plant is the Swiss cheese monstera. It gets its name from its leaves, which have little holes in them. A fun fact about this plant is that it can actually produce a fruit. They like indirect bright light and more humid climates. Let me know which one is your favorite, and make sure to follow to see more interior design tips.
I was about to say, looking at that video, to me, it seems like he's an interior designer, not necessarily a plant person. Because technically each plant in itself wasn't grown that super well. The Adansonii was actually quite nice and lush, but like the Dracaena was definitely not receiving enough light. It wasn't super lush and full like it would be if you grow it in full sun. But it had this whimsical architectural element, right? You could just imagine like a really empty plain room and then just this one. lit up from below or something like that. So this is definitely like giving me some sort of inspiration. For example, I think I should just work a little bit more on maybe creating a nice mossy environment in the pot, right? Create like a little landscape within the pot rather than just have a moss pile coming out of it. So I really like this. Like the red Congo, for example, objectively wasn't grown that well, but it was styled nicely in that pot, and obviously with some paid advertisement he did here as well. Get those coins, good on you. But yeah, that sort of is the stuff that I wanted to see to get inspiration, you know, just get my brain thinking a little bit and get it thinking outside the box. I don't want to be told what plants to buy. I want to be inspired, you know what I mean?
You know, at the beginning I told myself it wasn't going to be an addiction, and then I bought another one, and then I bought another one after that. And
you know how I said like don't grow trees inside? I actually quite like this ficus over here. It looks good, but it's nice and lush and bushy, right? I don't think it probably didn't grow in that spot. It probably grew somewhere else and then it was put in that spot.
now it's kind of starting to look like an addiction. You know, at the beginning I told myself it wasn't.
But again, not that much, right? There's like, by the time she's done with the video.
Look like an addiction. You know,
oh my god, why is TikTok so painful?
Like an addiction.
By the time she's done with this video, there's really, I mean, apart from the two that are kind of in the foreground, there's 4 plants over there, right? And they fill the whole space and it always makes it look a little bit messy already. You don't need a shelf with 45 plants to create impact. I really like this.
I'm gonna say it again, do not sleep on the pink dragon elbow. I mean, we called it an elbow, but this girl gives such beautiful, beautiful pink tones, and they've gotten so affordable. And let's talk about...
Not the biggest fan of pink variegation, but this is one of the nicer pink variegated alocasias I've seen, because it doesn't deform the leaves. So I really like this. Definitely helping me change my mind on pink variegated alocasias a little bit. More of that, please.
Here's how you can create...
There are so many ads on TikTok. Like every 3rd video is an ad. That's funny. I think I've done a similar video like that before as well, and I like it. I like when we kind of make fun of ourselves for our unhealthy plant addiction, right? But on a more serious note, if you actually feel overwhelmed, or if you consider your plant care, plant chores, don't feel like you have to have more plants. Don't feel bad about getting rid of plants as well. A lot of plants that I grow for content. If it wasn't for the content that I produce on a weekly basis, I would definitely have way less plants and go for more quality over quantity. So don't feel pressured into like holding on to every piece of DNA, every propagation you've ever made, every plant that's on the brink of death. You gotta bring it back. Like, of course you like try if you want to, but if it doesn't bring you joy, it defeats the purpose. If you look after too many plants, you're going to spread yourself too thin and it's going to drain energy from you. Rather conserve that energy and put it towards a few select plants that you really want to see thrive, and you'll end up having better success with it. But I like her take on it.
I'm a plant parent. Of course I take new plants home without anybody knowing.
We like Claire.
I'm a plant parent. Of course I turn my
Look at her dubia.
Plants before people come over. I'm a
I have done that, yes.
Plant parent. Of course there's always soil spilt everywhere. I'm a plant parent. Of course I'm easily distracted by new growth. I'm a plant parent. Of course I hoard cups and jars for propagation.
Yes.
I'm a plant parent. Of course I'd rather be home with my plants.
Yes, very, very, hello darling, very, very relatable. And I really like Claire, she's funny. Variegated Chiapensi Syngonium. Why do they all play copyright music? Oh, silence, there you go. Look at that. Now that's what I wanted to see. That is so cool. I'm gonna add this to my wish list actually. See, that is beautiful. I just love a nicely grown plant. Like, look at that continuous increase in leaf size. Look at the, yes my darling, look at the changes in variegation. Keeps it interesting, somewhat stable as well. That is well done. I just appreciate the skill that it takes to grow a plant like that. I really like this. Sorry again, copyright music, but the original is from Our Lucky Roots on Instagram, so they just reposted this one. Really, really nice. I love a green velvet. Actually, maybe I prefer the green velvet over the Friedeck even, because maybe it doesn't need a variegation. I think I need both. I think I found a stump of my green velvet and I'm trying to recover it, and I'm filming the process. I'm not too sure. I just found the stump in the garden, so I'm not too sure what originally planted it was, but there was a green velvet somewhere in that garden. Could also be a Syrian or could be something different. I suppose we find out once it starts growing leaves, but I really like this. This looks good. And it's hard. I find it really hard to grow.
I get a lot of questions about my large houseplants, so let's talk about some of my favorites. First up is this umbrella tree. This plant grows really tall without getting wider, so I love using it to fill corners and narrow spaces that need some vertical visual interest. It does tend to grow all wonky though, so it's important to use stakes like these to help the plant grow straight up. Next up is the plant that I get the most questions about, my black olive tree. Unlike my other plants, this one is an actual tree with a thin trunk and leaves that can fall off and grow back. I really love how sculptural it looks with its thin straight.
Very structural, right? It's obviously not super lush, but it almost looks good that way.
Branches and tiny little leaves, and it definitely stands out as a centerpiece in my living room. Third is this jumbo purple alocasia. There are lots of alocasia variations, but this one is one of my favorites because of its huge arrow-shaped leaves and unique purple stems. It does take
and super well grown as well. Very nice.
Take up a lot of space since it tends to get wider, so make sure it has plenty of room to grow and spread its leaves. And last up is this money tree. This is actually the first large plant I ever got, and I've watched it grow from 3 feet tall to now over 5 feet tall. It has these beautiful green leaves, and they also usually come with a braided trunk.
Very nice. Like, good example again, where we have very different tastes. Like, I don't grow any of those plants, but they all look really, really good. And they actually make me contemplate the tree situation. So I suppose I don't have a lot of natural light in my house, and I don't have a lot of space left anyway, but if I would have big floor-to-ceiling windows like he does over here, where a lot of our aeroids would probably get burned from the light, I think a tree is actually maybe a really good option. So somewhat inspiring, or let's say like challenges my existing thinking. Trees can look really good indoors and can survive and can get enough light. I suppose depends on your house, but I think this is so much nicer than a fiddle leaf, for example, right? Like, much more interest. Okay, last one.
Oh my god, what is that? Oh my god, what is that?
Yes, I always cut mine off as well, and I really enjoyed how large her plants were in the background. But I think I'm already over it. That was enough TikTok for a day. I think next time around we do this, we need to switch it up a little bit. I think I might need to do a little bit of research beforehand and just find a few good videos that I can then show you, because overall I wasn't super impressed with it, but maybe my algorithm just needs refining a little bit. Definitely found a few really cool inspirational videos over here that made my brain think, but I think we can do better. So let me know if you want to see a part 2 of this, and hopefully we can do better that time. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, leave a nice comment and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Bye!